Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, the product of two consecutive even positive integers is 288. What is their sum? So what is it that I'm looking for? Well, I'm looking for some kind of even positive integers, right? And basically they want to know what will be the sum of those two numbers, given that earlier, right, you found that the product of those two same numbers, it was 288. Okay, so if you're thinking a little bit like, man, that's confusing, let's take one step at a time. Well, first of all, I know that these two numbers should be even numbers, right? What even numbers? We don't know, right? But it could be anything. So even numbers are anything like what? 2, 4, 6, 8, and so on and so forth, right? Now, think about it. Let's suppose I choose 2 to be my number. How would I get the 4? Well, I will need to add a 2 to that number, right? What about if I choose a 6? How would I find the next number? Well, I will need to add a 2 to the number. So I can see a pattern. No matter what number I choose to be the first one, okay? So this will be my first number. I would represent that with anything. I can say X, right? Because I can choose any number. What about my second number? And of course, these are my even numbers, right? Well, we agree that to find the next number, I will need to add a 2 to that. So I will represent that with X plus 2. So now I have my two even positive integer numbers. Is that right? Okay, now what I know is that I can multiply them because it says product, and product is another word for multiplying. So I know that if I multiply those two, I should get 288. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to multiply x times x plus 2, and that will be equals to 288. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get rid of the parentheses, right? So x times x gives me x squared, and x times 2 gives me 2x, and that is equals to 288. So I know what you're thinking. So what do I do next, miss? Well, think about one of these choices here. I'm still looking for some values for x, right? So I need to leave x by itself. I need to find the value for x. So one of the things that we can do is I can actually find and use the, how do I call that one? Completing the square. Very good. Completing the square, if you recall, it means that I need to divide b over 2 and then to the second power. So b in this case is 2 over 2 to the second power, and that will be 1 square, and of course that's still a 1. Is that right? So I am gonna write down that one over here. So this will be x plus 1 to the second power. And remember, whatever I do on one side, I need to do it to the other side. So I added a 1. Okay? So now this gives me x plus 1 squared equals 289 because I added 288 plus 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. What do I do from here? Well, we need to leave x by itself, right? We need to solve for x. Therefore, I need to get rid of the exponent. Yeah, the square. So the way that I get rid of that one, if you remember, is by finding the square root on both sides. Is that right? And that will eliminate my power or my exponent. Is that right? Okay, so that gives me x plus 1 equals, and the square root of 289 is 17. Okay, it's looking better, right? Now I need to take away 1 on both sides so that I can leave x by itself, and that gives me x equals to 16. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the first even number right here is going to be let me use a different color. It's going to be a 16. So what about the second number? Well, remember the second number, I'm adding a 2. So that gives me a what? 18. So now I know my two numbers. My first number is a 16. My second number is an 18. But I need to find out if what's the sum of those two numbers. So I need to remember sum means when you add the numbers. Very good. So I will add 16 plus 18 and that gives me a 34. Exactly. And guess what? That's my answer because that's what I wanted. I wanted to find the sum of those two numbers. And I can see that on my answer choice D. Very good.